just arrived on our doorstep is this from Studio Light. It's called Love of My Life. There are 8x8 papers as well as 300 die cuts. I've got so many things to show you, and here is just an example, and you can see that this has love all over it. Won't you please come play with us? Okay, let's get into these. Now, this is 8x8. There are 36 sheets. They are single-sided. It's a nice combination of patterned as well as solid cardstock. And there is a kind of a thumbnail of them on the cover, but let me just flip through to show you. You do get 3 of each one. And as I said, they are white on the back side, but some beautiful images. And being 8x8, that means that you can do some things with all parts of this sheet. And we've got some windows, we've got some balloons, we have some books. Roses are everywhere, as you can see. I thought this was beautiful. And here's an all over roses, which I also used, and a border, which I also used. And I was going to use this, but I'll talk to you about that when we get to that project. And kind of a ghosty looking watercolor, and then some solids. So we've got red, we've got pink, we have tan, and that's it. Yes, so there we go. Okay, so those are all of that. And then, as I said, 300 paper elements, and they're all die cut for you. There are greetings in here. You're my everything, forever and always. So just some really wonderful things. I'll show you, of course, the 4 cards, but then I'll show you the die cuts that I had left, because a ton of them. So this is going to be useful year-round. And here is our first card. Now, this is on a 5 by 6.5 inch card, which is our standard card. But let me show you what I've done. So this is the sheet of paper I used. And as you can tell, I used the bottom area. Now, I'll hold this here, and I should have brought my acetate, but you can see that when I covered my card with this, I had this very strange little leaf kind of floating at the top of my sheet. So what I wanted to do was to use our new fancy fold-over dies, and this is just so useful. So I did this on the top. And as you can see, so let me just open up this package, and I will show you, well, here we go. I'll show you the shapes that you get out of this, out of these 3 dies. So this is the one die I used on this card. There are 2 others, and so this is it. But here are the 2 others. So you can use them on top of the card, as I've done. You can have them fold over the card and be at the back of the card, or be at the back of the card front. You can have them, well, actually, if you watch the webisode, you'll see. So they can come over the card, just all sorts of things. And the directions are, of course, on the package. So let me tuck that in. And this, as I said, is the die that I use. So I'm going to leave this out because I want to share something with you. When I die cut these 2 pieces, so I used the solid red and this piece, which is the top of that sheet right here. And I did not use the whole cutting die. I used just this part. And let me show you just that part. So you can, I mean, normally when you see a cutting die, you think, okay, I'm going to use all of this and I'm going to place it on my machine and figure out my paper and so forth. But what I chose to do was just use this strip of the paper. I wanted to have a little bit of the background showing before I got to the mat. The mat is just a second piece, and it too is just a strip. So you can use your paper, but probably get more things out of your paper. So I did cut the 2 pieces. Now I did also ink the edges. So I placed it, of course, on my craft mat, and I used Velvet Fawn. Velvet Fawn is a favorite of mine, and it's just this light kind of shadow. In fact, you can see the difference between, this is the paper uninked and this is the paper inked. So it's just a very gentle, it's kind of mirrors the color that's in the middle of the paper. So I set this on the craft mat, and I went all the way around with the velvet fawn. To tell you the truth, I actually put these two pieces together and then I glued them to the card front. I forgot to do the inking. So I went back and I placed one of the cutout pieces, so the piece that I threw away, just right next to it, and I could ink it. And that worked very nicely. So tip in case you do what I did. This was my first die cut, and you see it went very, very close, too close to the flower, and I really wanted it to have some air around it, so to speak. So that's what I have at the top of that card. And then the love that is there, that love is foiled. And I know the dazzles are catching your attention, but focus on the love, if you will. The love comes from the Hearts and Love cutting die. This is a new one. And you can see the love. I'm going to be using the heart later and these other hearts. So this one. And I wanted to do it with foiling. So let me show you an example of how to do that. So I took the love die and I used this on our double-sided adhesive. And this comes, there's 4 sheets in a package. They're A4 size. They've got paper on each side. Now, even though this has got an an adhesive in the middle and an adhesive sheet in the middle and paper on each side, it's super thin. So you can get very intricate dies like this. So this has got paper on both sides. Then I'm going to pull off the paper that's on the back side. And okay, I'm going to pull that little puppy off. So there. And I'm going to place it right here, just to demonstrate for you how to do this, just in case you missed it. I'm going to press that down. Okay. Then I'm going to lift up the top layer of paper, just like that. So those are my 2 paper loves sitting there. Those are going to get thrown away. So now I have a sticky love. Okay. Then, if you saw the foiling webisode that I did, there is another one going to be coming up. You saw this technique, but I just think it's wonderful because it's so many more ways that you can use your dies. So we have now a lot of colors that you can buy individually, and you get a nice group. This is I think it's 4 inches by a meter, so it's 38 inches long. So we've got gold, purple, red, which I'm going to use, green, dark blue, violet, pink, teal, silver, and copper. So we've got just a lot of colors, which is really fun. And I think they're like $3.99 a sheet. So there's an item number for you. So I'm going to take the red and I'm going to get it attached to the packaging. I'm going to pull it off. And then I'm just going to cut a snip off. Now the nice thing about the foiling is that you can use every bit of what you have. So that's nice to know. Okay, so I'll cut away. I'll put that back in my container. So there's my sticky love. I'm going to place this on top and I'm going to rub it down. I'm going to burnish it with my finger. And you're going to see the word love. Can you see it? It's showing. Okay, so I'm going to press that down. Now, you don't have to press very hard, and you can do a couple of things with this. So let me first lift this up. By the way, did you notice it's the red side up? So you want to have it positioned on your adhesive the way you're going to see it. So color side up. I'm just going to pull this off. Now, I've got red on there, but I'd like it to be redder, if you will. And when you're doing very thin dies like the love is, I found that if you go back over it, and I found the handle of my blending brush worked really well. So I'm just gonna rub it just like this. And what happens is that any area that wasn't red or didn't have adhesive on it would be picking it up. And you can do this, you know, multiple times if you want, but if you have a thicker image that you've die cut, this step is probably not necessary. But when you get very thin dies like this Love is, it just takes a little bit more effort to have that color all the way. So it's getting redder, as you can see. And you can see, let's see, let me turn this over so you can see. So we had the Love to begin with, and there's kind of lines in it. Well, now I'm getting more of the foiling attaching. And what's I think is really neat is that all this takes is just some pressure and it will transfer. And I really appreciate this. I didn't want to do foiling where we had to ask you to buy another machine. So I just love this. It's called, this is not heat, so I guess it would be cold foiling, wouldn't it? So you can see that this is just going to get beautiful. So you just rub it. That's all it takes. So there is the Love. It looks gorgeous. Now, don't throw this away because you can use every particle of red on there. So that's nice too. Okay, let me go back to my card. There we go. Now you can see the last thing that I did. So I've got my Love, my foiled Love, is the Dazzles. And the Dazzles are the heart dazzles, obviously. And Lene loves to use the jewel picker because it has a sticky end on it. I like to use the pen knife. So this is the pen knife. It has a thin blade that retracts. You just push that button. And what I like to do on the hearts is pick them up from the bottom. Now on the heart sheet, you've got what's called folk hearts, which are this kind of exaggerated, and then you've got the more traditional hearts, and you've got both styles in 3 different sizes. So I didn't, in this area, I wanted to have this kind of spread of hearts going out of my Love. And so I took the medium regular hearts, and I also used the folk hearts in the smaller size. So I just pick them up. Well, you can just do it at the bottom of the heart and do it like this, and then just position it. So let's see, where do I need one? How about, oops, how about right there? And then too, you can have your heart popping all over. and sometimes you do wear them. It's okay, people will comment. So there we go. And come on, heart, make me look good. There we go. So that is what I have on the front. On the inside, okay, on that sheet that I cut for my card front, I cut this part, I had this whole piece left with that really interesting bottom. So I trimmed that to go inside my card. And then I went back to that same cutting die. This is the fancy fold over, the same one I used on the front. And I die cut 2 pieces of red. And I glued them to the back of this piece. Now, you can ink this if you want and then glue those, but you can see I glued those just underneath this and glued it flat to the card. Then I took one of the 300, actually 2 of the 300 die cuts, and I glued them. Notice that this is going outside the centerpiece and this is going outside. And then I have another trail of hearts going at the top. So this is going to read, Love, you are the greatest gift in my life. So very, very pretty. So that's our first card. Now, our second card is using something brand new. In fact, we'll be doing a webisode on that, I think, later this week. But this is called Red Burnished Diamond Papers. We have red, gold, and silver. And they are a paper. And do you see that shine? They are double-sided. Hot diggity. You don't usually get that with a specialty paper. And they're very malleable. So you can see, which means they're going to do really well for multiple things. You can use embossing folders with this. You can't do that with any glitter paper. You can also do die cutting, you can do matting. In fact, we're just getting ready to explore all the things. So I wanted to share that because the red color is so perfect with this set of papers. So this is the one I chose. And I really wanted to use this window because I love the idea of that heart peeking through the window. So I cut that smaller than my 6.5 by 5 card. You'll see the dimensions down below in the instructions. It's probably 4.5 by 6 inches, I would imagine. Then I matted it on our burnished diamonds, and that's about 1/4 inch mat, and glued it to my card front. Now I went into the die cuts and I took out the Forever and Always. Now when you see those die cuts, you will see that there are different sizes of the same greeting. So this is I will love you until the end of time, small, and then a larger image of the same greeting, same artwork. So you've got that all through this book, which is handy, and it's actually handy to have it in book form. So the Forever and Always, I also matted it on the red burnished and foam taped that there. I overlapped this window because I wanted it kind of peeking into the window, looking at the heart peeking and looking at the Forever and Always. That was my plan. You can see on the edge I use dazzles, and this is thin line dazzles, and this is the primary set because it has the red in it. And I did place them, actually the first time I did this card I did straight line dazzles, and it just looked a little too plain for me, so I went to the thin line because I get a design that way. And I did put it about 1/8 of an inch in, and notice on the corners they actually cross over each other. So I like that look. Another of the die cuts is here. I did ink the edges because it was very stark white, so I did foam tape that in place. Now these hearts, and I promised I would go back to the Hearts and Love cutting die. Well, there are 3 hearts that are solid hearts. And I die cut them out of the red burnished and stacked them here. So they're just glued straight. And so I've got the red burnished on the outside, matted, and here. And there's empty space, but I thought that worked really nicely. Now on the inside of this card, okay, so remember I used the top part for the front of my card, so I had this left. And initially, well, okay, so I did the same thing. I trimmed this out, I matted it on the red burnish, and I hope you get an idea of how beautiful this is. It's just gorgeous, and it's smooth. That's another thing. In fact, this is the packaging. We just finished it for this webisode, and there will be, this is a two very intricate lace cutting dies, so you can see how beautifully it will die cut. And there are more ideas on the back of the package. And what I wanted to do is I took 2 more of the die cuts, and I thought I would make this a pocket, okay? But that really didn't work because the artwork, I felt if I tucked it in, it would be covering up too much of the art, so I elected to go on top. I did, of course, mat this. I did the same thing that I did on the front, so I cut this, matted it on the red, did the thin line dazzles around the edge. But these 2 pieces I wanted to stand out more. So I took the first one. I did ink the edges with the Velvet Fawn, both of these, because I wanted them to stand out against this light colored paper. So I matted it on the red burnished and glued this at an angle down first. And then this envelope I thought was just really pretty. Again, inked it and glued it so they're going this way. So your eye is kind of going into the middle. This is that the smallest heart that I die cut on the front, because I think just having a heart sealing envelope is a really nice little message. So that's the inside of the card. So different looks, and I like that. Okay, now we're going to go to this one. And here is a stand-up card. So it stands up like that. It's a rocker card. And what is interesting about the sets of artwork in this, or the die cuts, is the size. So you can see that in this card how big that die cut is. And see, let me go to a couple of pages here. Okay, so this is actually the one that I used. And you can see that's probably about 3.5 inches tall. So that's really nice. And I wanted to put it on something where it would be the star. So I elected to use this cutting die, the circular step card. And this is, the die itself is 5 7/8 by 6. So it's going to work great on an 8 by 8 paper. And I elected to use this sheet because of the border. So you've got 2 edges, 1, 2. I like this because it was darker, but the shadow means that it should be facing this way. So it wouldn't work with my cutting die. So I had to use the edge that's a little bit lighter. So I simply placed my cutting die on top and die cut it, just like so. And I wanted to make sure that I could get a little bit of that edge. So it's pretty subtle, but it is there, and I like the look of that. Okay, so, so that was nice, because sometimes when you have a 6 by 6 or an 8 by 8 paper, sometimes your dies may not work with them, but with the 8 by 8 paper, it worked with everything this time. So my circle step card is right here. I did want, as I said, I really wanted to use this art, and I wanted to make it sparkle. So it is foam taped onto the card, and you can see how much it extends up from the card, which is nice with this cutting die. It lets you really expand that card front, and it will still fit in our 10 envelopes very nicely. So that's not a problem at all. And so I did pop that out and foam taped it. Now what I did is I put the foam tape on the die cut card rather than putting it on this, because I just wanted to make sure that I could get this centered and not be too far down into this artwork, and I still wanted it to fit into a card. So I put the tape, 3 rows of it, on the card, and then I positioned this on top. That worked for me. Now I did use, as you can tell, the red border dazzles along the curved edge and this little piece. And I also used it on the steps. So you can see there and there and there and there. And what I like about the dazzles, one of the many things, well, number one that I like is that it just easily dresses up any project. So that's very nice. But these curved edges can be tricky with some products. And it's nice that the dazzles, certainly not all the designs, but many of them will go right along that curved edge. So that's really nice. And once again, I wanted to use the heart dazzles. And let's see if I can find that art again. Where are you? How the artwork, let's get in a little bit closer. Okay, see all those hearts? Well, all I did was use my penknife to lift, oops, to lift off hearts and place them on top of the art hearts, okay? And I really like that. I thought that was fun. Now, the thing that was a little dull to me was the greeting. You're my everything. I mean, that's a wonderful message, but it was very plain. So I foam taped it. I overlapped my window, but I also used the dazzles top and bottom, and I just felt that that gave it a little bit more punch. Now, as I said, you get many size versions of the artwork. So I took 2 of the small ones and just rested them over here. I was going to do flowers, but they really didn't look as good, I didn't think. In fact, I can show you. So here is one flower, and I guess it kind of melded into the cardstock that I used on the card itself. I could have used, and I tried, a little bit of the foliage and maybe one of the smaller pieces, but I don't know. It was okay. It was fine. It would be fun to have that pointing out, but I just thought that those little ones supported it a little bit better. And you can see this artwork. There were also larger ones, but I didn't want it to fight with this. I wanted this to be my star and this to be my message. So these were just kind of fillers over there. So you choose whatever you like, but those were the reasons why I chose what I did. Now on the back of this, that's where you can write your greeting. I didn't put anything there, but you know what? That would be a place where the rose and maybe some of the foliage would be a nice thing to have. So I should have thought of that before, huh? So anyway, there you go. That's an idea. Okay, I have one more. And this too is a shaped card. And this was very fun to do. And again, because those die cuts are so big and there are so many, I really wanted to take advantage. And I thought it was fun that this is a, there's kind of an envelope there to get mailed, and there's a big envelope. And I thought, well, gosh, let's do the envelope box card. You know, how nice is that? So I elected to do that, and that has 3 pieces. And in all of these dies from Fabulous Folded, so this one and this one, the instructions are on the back of the package. So it's just super, super easy to do. And when you do the box, I don't think I have, yeah, I don't have pieces inside, but I can show you with the die. So the die is this piece, and that's going to be the back of the card. And then these are going to fold over, and they're going to fold over and have space here. And then there is a little crossbar. You can see it right there. That's a little piece. So those fold over, and then this third piece goes over the top of it. An interesting thing, if I can show you, bring this out. The cutting die is a little bit longer than 8 inches. So what I thought, okay, let me see what the package says. Package says that this piece, which is this, is 8.5 by 4.25. Okay, my paper is 8 inches, but I looked at that and I thought, you know, when that piece is coming around, they don't overlap, they just butt up against each other, because the third piece, this one, goes on top. And I thought, okay, well, I think this will work. So I laid this down like this when I die cut it. So there was just a little bit, this is 8.5, so there's 1/4 inch that's not going to get die cut. It worked perfectly, absolutely perfectly. So all I did was follow the directions, score these. I put the crossbar inside using the extra sticky tape, and then this piece on top holds it all together, holds this piece together. So I thought that worked very nicely. I was very proud of myself. So, you know, you don't want to, you can use dies in many ways. I guess that's what I'm saying, okay? You can use little pieces of it. You can use 8 inch when it should be 8.5. Don't worry about it. It'll be just fine. Okay, so I did that. And I wanted this large die cut to, again, be the star, and I wanted that envelope to really show, so I didn't want to get it buried too far down, but it really needed something kind of spectacular behind it. So I went to red glitter, and I went to the Hearts and Love. Remember I told you I was going to use this, and die cut this piece out, which was perfect to hold this die cut. Now, I was kind of thinking about this die cut, but I like the envelope part of it. I just didn't feel like this would support the idea so much as this die cut did. So This I've got right on top. Now, I did do some inking. Now, I haven't talked about the dazzles, so bear with me. I did use Cocoa Bean. It's a little bit darker than the Velvet Fawn, and I did ink all the edges. So the corners, you can kind of see it there. Let me get this off. You can see it there. So it just gives a shadow, and I just think it looks better, and it just takes a moment with the blending brush, so that works well. Okay, so I attached this to the glitter scallop heart, and then I put sticky tape and attached it to the crossbar. And I wanted to get a message in here, but the messages were a little bit big, and so I wasn't sure what to do. But I went into the messages, and there's an I love you in different sizes, and you'll notice that many of these die cuts have a white edge. So as I flip through here, you can kind of see that. And that's why I find that inking them just works really well for me. In this case, I just trimmed off the white, and I foam taped the I love you. And I wanted to add a little bit more dimension, so I took the jute bag and took 2 strands of the brown and just tied a bow and zot it in place right next to the I love you. And in the imagery, there is a little bit of a twine ribbon around that envelope, so that worked well. Then it was almost done. It looked a little plain in the front, so that's when I went back to my same border jewel dazzles that I used here, and just did them in the front this time. So this piece and on each of the 2 side pieces. And then on the back, so remember I've got an I love you here. This is the little one. Well, I used the larger one here, inked it, and foam taped it. I do confess that this is just one little heart, and that's a whole package, a whole sheet of a lot of them, but I use those hearts on so many things. I figured I should put another one there, so that worked nicely for me. You can see those dazzles wrap right around the card. You could certainly put more of the dazzles on this back piece. That would be beautiful too. So that is the end of my stuff, except I want to show you what I had left. So here is the bag, and these are all of the sheets that I have left. I mean, a ton. So when they say 300, they're right. I mean, I don't check their math, but I assume they know how to count. And there's just a lot left, and a lot of different sizes. So that's really helpful when you're doing. It lets you make a real statement. So I also thought a pop-up box card would be fun because you've got so much of this. In fact, these are pieces that are left. Okay, so I've got a lot of them left. And speaking of what's left, this is all of the paper I had left, plus what is in the package. So I've got a lot left. So even though I did the inside of every card, there is a lot left to create with, which is nice, because with a title like Love of My Life, I think you're going to find places to use this year-round, and very nice. So you can grab yourself some dazzle hearts, some red border, some glitter, or our new burnished diamond papers, and have a good time. Do a lot of different things. Do your special card shapes as well as our regular flat cards. So that's fun. Okay. I have a money saver, of course, and you know where it is. It's on the right-hand side of the screen. Listed down below are all the directions for each of the cards for you. And if you're watching this on YouTube, we hope that you will tell me what you think. Do you like seeing the shaped cards as well as the flat cards? Let me know what you think. I like showing you different ways of using those cutting dies. And I feel like if you're going to invest in a cutting die, you want to find a lot of ways to use it. So that's my thought, but you tell me what you think. And if you like seeing the mix of the specialty papers too, because that's really fun. If you are watching us on YouTube, all of that, but two, please like us, please subscribe. Most importantly, please head on over to paperwishes.com. As I said, we just got this in. I was very excited that it finally got here. And there is time for Valentine's Day, but you know, the love of your life can be year-round too. And this is great for romance, but it's also, some of the messages are really good for friends or for children or whatever. So that'll work for you. You know who you love. I want to thank you for joining me and Paulette's Paper Play. You can tell I have a good time with it, and I love sharing with you why I did what I did, and hopefully that is helpful. Let me know if it is. And we will have more very, very soon. So thank you for joining me, and thank you for being part of our Paper Wishes family. See you next time.